whoever says that there is no God, whoever says that God does not exist, I think they are very wrong. Because I'm a living testimony. You see this car you guys are seeing, I came out from this vehicle. I had a head-on collision with another vehicle and I was the one driving. I came out from this car, guys. Is that not a resounding testimony? So if you want to hear all the teas, if you want to hear what happened, my recovery process, then keep on watching. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Jukes Michael. If you're a returning subscriber, you're highly welcome. And if you're new on my channel, thank you for tuning in. God has been so good to me. God has been so merciful. God has been kind. I decided that I'm going to share this testimony to my YouTube family. I promise God that as long as I live, as long as I have breath in me, I will keep on sharing this testimony. It doesn't matter how long ago it happened, but I'm a living proof. I'm alive today and I'll keep talking about it so that I'll keep shaming the devil over and over again. So guys, let's go right into it. It was on the 10th of June 2015. I think it was on a Thursday. I hope I'm not mixing the dates up. Either 9th or 10th of June 2015. So that day I woke up, I dressed for work, I went to work, everything was going well. Someone invited me for a seminar. I decided that I was going to go for the seminar after work. A colleague of mine decided to tag along with me. So off we went to the seminar. We got to the seminar, we stayed about 90 minutes, about an hour and a half. Roughly 2 hours. We did stay up to 2 hours at the seminar, and we decided to call it a day. By then it was already 6 p.m. It was about 6 p.m. I decided to drop off my colleague. She was a colleague and friend, so I decided to drop her off at her house before going to my own house. We headed home. I dropped her off at her house, and then as I was leaving her estate, as I was leaving and heading home, guys, it was drizzling a bit, and this was around 6:30 p.m. to 7. It was still a bit bright. It wasn't very dark yet, and the road was kind of wet, but it didn't rain heavily. It was just drizzling. I was speeding between 80 and 100. That is not really speed now. So as I was just driving, minding my lane, I was just going jejeje. I was like 10 minutes away from home. I was just driving, and guys, the next thing I just heard was a loud shattering sound. I just heard "Wah!" That was all I heard, and the moment I heard that sound, the car spun. The car spun round and then came to a halt. It took me some few seconds to actually realize that I've been involved in an accident. I don't know how that accident happened, to be very honest. I don't know how it happened. I did not see the car coming onto me. And the road was not dualized, but the road was very, very wide. You guys know Abuja roads are very, very wide. That particular express was not dualized, but it was very, very wide, so it can contain 2 cars at both lanes. So I didn't see this car coming onto me. I did not. If I had seen the car, I would have swerved to my right because there was no car beside me. All I heard was just a loud sound, and then the car spun and came to a halt. Hey God. See, this memory will forever be evergreen in my mind or in my heart. I don't think I can ever forget it. I still know all the details. So as the car came to a halt, the airbags had busted. The steering of the car was resting on my thighs, like I was locked. The seat belt locked. The steering of the car was resting on my thighs. My heart, my heart beat. My heart was beating and pumping fast as if it was going to explode. I was just murmuring, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." That was all I could say. The way my heart was beating fast, and it was as a result of the shock. I thought I was going to pass out. I was there for like few minutes before some some guys started running towards me. Some Hausa guys started running towards me, you know, and then they ran towards me. By the time they got to where I was, they were just shouting, "Madam, madam, madam, madam." They were trying to open the door. The door refused to open. I was just inside the car. The door refused to open. They were just shouting, "Madam, madam." And this happened during the fasting period. It happened during Ramadan. So these guys that came were guys that were just closing their fast, but they just ended their fast, you know. So they were the ones that just gathered. And see, guys, that road where that accident happened is a lonely road. On a normal day, you won't see people. You won't see anybody on that road because it's just an express. There is nothing on both sides of the road. There are no buildings, there are no houses, nothing. It's more like there is nothing there. It was just an express. Where these guys came out from, I have no idea. So they now started trying to see how they could bring me out of the car. So eventually, one of the back door, they opened it, and then from there they now tried, and from there they now forced the door open. You know, they now forced the door open, and they were now trying to pull me out. It became a struggle to even pull me out. And guys, I am not a I'm not a petite lady. I'm 6 feet tall. I have weight. So you understand, and they can understand the plight of some young guys that have been fasting since morning, trying to pull off this hefty lady from this vehicle. You know, they're just dragging me, and eventually they now pulled me out from the car, and I was now on the third road. I had my handbag in the car. I had a huge sum of money in that handbag that my boss gave me, because I was supposed to go to the bank first thing the next morning to go and make that deposit. I had that money in my handbag. My phones were in my bag, you know. So as they just pulled me out from the car and I was on the third road, the first one said, "Please, my bag." See someone that just had an accident, or see someone that was just involved in a ghastly accident. But all I was thinking about was the money in that bag, because so they brought my bag. I just held the bag first, jeje. Because of the accident, there was already traffic had built up. There was serious traffic on that road. So I was not able to bring out my phone. They were like, "Madam, who are we going to? Are we going to call your husband?" I said, "Husband." Then I was still single. I wasn't married. I was a husband. In my mind, I just said, "I don't have a husband." "No, it's my sister. It's my sister." I quickly dialed my sister's number and gave them the phone, and they just spoke to her that she should come, that I just had an accident. They now described where the location of the accident and hung up. So they now said, okay, that they have to take me to the hospital, this one, that one. And then luckily for me, where I went to, one of the hospitals my company then, where I worked, uses as referral, was in that location. And as at then, more people had come, different guys, people that were driving by that saw the accident, stopped and now came. So I was no more dealing with the Hausa boys per se. So they just came, they just dragged me, carried me to somebody's car. They now asked me for the hospital. I told them the hospital, but most of them they didn't even know the hospital. But guys, I was still very conscious. So even in my state of shock, and with the way my heart was beating as if it was going to explode from my chest, I was able to direct them on how to get to the hospital. We got to the hospital, they brought me out of the car. I couldn't walk, it was an emergency. They now wheeled me in, you know. As at then, my sister was already on her way to the hospital. She was already on her way to the hospital. So the doctors just started. Next thing, they are puncturing my thighs with different injections. They are looking for my vein. Guys, my vein collapsed. And I think it was as a result of the shock. My vein collapsed. They couldn't see my vein. They started searching for my vein, searching for my vein, searching for my vein. Lo and behold, as God would have it. Why is this not focusing? I think I should move these glasses. Last. They finally found my vein. They put drip on me. They were just puncturing me, my thighs. They were just as different injection was going into my thighs, my vein, different places, and then somewhere by my pelvic, blood was now gushing out. I'm like, and I wore a pencil skirt. I wore a pencil skirt to work that day. Blood was just gushing out. They were like, where is this blood coming from? They tried to pull the skirt. I screamed in pain. They just brought scissors. It was scissors that they just used. They just used scissors to tear the skirt. Sharp, sharp. Because no time to waste time. So when they tore the skirt, tore everything I was wearing down below. They tore it, and then they now saw that something had punctured me just by my pelvic. You know where the pelvic is? Something had punctured me there, and blood was seriously gushing out. So they had to suture me. They had to suture that place. They dressed it, sutured me. I was getting calm. My heart rate had reduced from the way it was beating. Guys, if you're ever in shock, if you've ever been in shock, you will understand as in the way my heart was. I didn't know this heart could beat that fast. I was almost gasping for breath. It was that bad. So they sutured me. By then my sister had arrived. One of my friend, one of my male friends had arrived, because he lived in that estate. He had arrived, and then my colleague that I went to drop off, my sister contacted her to tell her I was involved in an accident. She just came crying, and hey God, I was in so much pain. I had bruises on my legs, on my hands, but nothing life-threatening. To God be the glory. Nothing life-threatening. So that night, while they were still attending to me, the doctors were asking questions. What happened? I couldn't say what happened. In fact, I didn't know what happened. I could not even explain. So, but the people that brought me to the hospital, apparently, one of the guys that brought me to the hospital was driving behind me when the accident happened. So he was the one that was now narrating what he saw, that a car just came onto me and we just had a head-on collision, that the car came from nowhere, that the car didn't even put on the headlights, and I'm like, So they were now saying that the guy that was driving, the car that collided into mine was a Peugeot 207, and they said that the guy broke his two legs. And his car, but Peugeot cars are very, very, very solid. The car didn't damage as much as my car. And Corolla is fiber. I was driving a Toyota Corolla. So the damage of the car that ran into me was not as bad as mine. The next morning, I was now in so much pain. My right leg was in so much. I don't understand what was going on with the leg. I couldn't raise it up. I couldn't do anything. They told me to stand. I couldn't stand. I was in serious pain by my ankle. I was in so much pain. They're like, wow, they'll have to run an x-ray. Cut the long story short, the x-ray showed that I had a fractured ankle, but it was just a thin line fracture. I spent about 2-3 days at the hospital, and I was discharged with lots of medication. It was when I got discharged and I got home that I saw the car I had accident with, and I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe that I came out from that car. I came out from that car with minimal injury. I mean, how God shielded me, how God protected me, how I came out with the minimal injury that I came out. My face was tantam, nothing happened to the face. It was just few bruises, apart from the puncture, the deep wound I had by my pelvic region, and the thin line fracture on my ankle. There wasn't any other injury. I didn't break any serious bone. I didn't sustain any life-threatening injury, because I couldn't believe I came out from that car. There was a youth program in church that I was deeply involved in, and I told myself I was going to attend this program no matter what. So even in my state, in my ruffled up state with cause guys, I was traumatized though, for almost 3 months after that accident happened, I kept perceiving the smell of the busted airbags. Trauma is not a good thing. I kept perceiving the smell of the busted airbags. I know it was psychological, but I know that I perceived that smell for a very, very long time. But anyways, I attended the youth program, limping seriously, because the pain on that ankle was so serious. I was seriously limping. Aisha attended that youth program, I attended it, and then as at that Saturday, my parents were already planning on coming. Everybody was worried. They wanted to start coming to Abuja. But on a second note, I said no, I think I want to go home at this point. I actually want to go home. Let me go and convalesce in my father's house. So I told them no, that I would rather come back home. They asked, can you come back? Are you sure? I said, yes, I can manage. I can come back home now. Apart from the pain in my ankle, I was not really in any danger. My BP was not high. I was okay. So I said I was going to go back home, so we booked flights. But anyways, I attended the youth conference, and then the next day was Sunday. I said I was going to go to church, and that I was going to go and testify about the goodness of God in my life. In my ruffled up state again, and me limping badly, I went to church. I got to church. During praise and worship, I was just praising God. I was singing, I was crying, I was thanking God, because guys, I could have lost my life in that accident. So while the praise and worship was going on, I heard God tell me that I should go out and share my testimony, and that after sharing my testimony, someone, a church member, was going to gift me a car. I heard it clearly while the praise and worship was going on. It was clear, it was specific. I said, okay, why not? If not, this testimony, I must share it. After the praise and worship, when it was testimony time, they called me for my testimony. I took the microphone, I shared my testimony. And as I was sharing my testimony, they displayed the accidented car on the screen. Everybody was just shouting. The whole congregation, people were shouting, wow, you know. I shared my testimony and went back to my seat. And the moment I went back to my seat, someone, a church member, just walked out gingerly and said that I'm going to get a new car. Hey, guys, the congregation went agog. Even me, I was dumbfounded. I was dumbfounded, because the way that car damaged, there was no fixing. That car, there was no how we were going to fix that car. There was no way. Fixing that car would just be wasting money. So that car was sold off as scrap. These are the kind of things that we read on the internet and be like, Fabu, this was fabricated, this is not true. This thing happened to me. I am not telling tales. This thing happened to me, koro koro. I heard the voice clearly, go and share your testimony, and someone will gift you a car. And guys, I got a new car. Now tell me, isn't God so faithful? Isn't God just so faithful? Hey, 2 days later, either 2 or 3 days later, I now traveled home. I flew down to Anambra. My dad was already waiting at Enugu airport to pick me. When we landed, he was already at the airport. So he picked me up and we just journeyed home to Oka. We got to Oka, I rested. That same day, we went to go and see an orthopedic doctor, because I did not see an orthopedic doctor in Abuja. So we just went straight to go and see an orthopedic doctor with my x-ray result. So when we got there, he saw the result. He said, no, that this ankle will, if I keep applying pressure on it, that is going to cause more harm. He said I was going to wear an ankle strap, and that I would probably wear it for 6 weeks. That after 6 weeks, that the fracture should have healed. So he gave me an ankle strap. In fact, I called it my special boot. They said I should be wearing it whenever I stand and I want to walk, whether it's at home or whether I'm going out. I should always put it on. So guys, that's how I got a new shoe. I got a new shoe. I called it my special boot, because guys, that boot, it drew so much attention to me. You can imagine, who is this guy? I wore it to work, I wore it to church, I wore that ankle boot to even do a makeup job. Guys, can you believe that? I wore it to do a makeup job. I just convalesced at home till my doctor cleared me and said, yes, I can now go back and resume work, but that I should make sure I'm always wearing that ankle strap. In fact, as at when I was now leaving, which I had already spent 4 weeks at home, he said I had to wear it for 6 weeks. So if you add the 4 weeks I spent at home plus the 6 weeks, that was like roughly 10 weeks. That's over 2 months that I had to wear the ankle strap. So that was how I wore it. I flew back to Abuja. At the airport, people were just looking at me because, of course, I wore something that drew the attention of everybody. So that was how I resumed work. I was going to work. I wasn't really going anywhere apart from work, home, and then church on Sunday. And I wore that ankle strap as long as the doctor told me. And when I was supposed to remove it, I had to go and do another x-ray. I did another x-ray and the fracture had healed. But I was still feeling a little bit of pain. And then when I stopped wearing the strap, my ankle was always a bit swollen. They now said, yes, that is because all this while something else has been absorbing the pressure when I walk, so that it was going to normalize after a while. And after a while, everything normalized. The puncture I had, the injury healed, everything healed. So that was how I survived that accident. And we finally sold off the car. We sold it to people that deal on spare parts. We sold it as scrap because there was nothing that could be done to that car. We sold it as scrap, and we didn't press charges against the guy that ran into me, because from what everybody narrated, from what people narrated, they said that he was the one at fault. Because, guys, like I said, I was just driving straight, minding my lane. Next thing, a car just came and collided with me, a car that was coming in the opposite directions. People were actually gingering us to press charges, but we didn't want to. I didn't want to. My siblings didn't want to. So we let it go. We said, Shebi is car. The car that I want to press charges for. Shebi, I got a car gift. So why am I still not pressing charges? So we actually didn't press charges and we just let everything go. And guys, this is the end of my testimony. If you still think that God does not exist, please, I think you should have a rethink, because you see this God up there. God is merciful and kind, and I'm a living testimony. See, I don't look like what I've been through, because I've been through a lot. I have been through a lot, but God has been faithful in all of it. God has been faithful. God has remained faithful. And guys, just help me to thank God, because I still thank him and I will keep thanking him. And guys, you know that night at the hospital when I told you a male friend of mine was around, do you know that at the hospital they even asked me if he was my husband? Guess who this supposed male friend was? My husband. See, God has a good sense of humor. I'm telling you, God has a good sense of humor, because that night, that was the second time that night people were talking about husband. The first time was when the outside boys that brought me down, when they were asking me who to call, if they should call my husband, and I told them I don't have a husband though. And then I got to the hospital again. A male friend came because he heard I had an accident, and the doctor and nurse were asking me, is he your husband? Yeah. And the guy said, when they asked that question, he started laughing. I told them, no, it's not my husband, he's a friend. This is the end of my story. This is my testimony. Please follow me to thank God. Follow me to share this testimony. See this video, guys. Please just share it. Share it, because people need to watch this video. People need to hear. People need to see. Those that don't believe, even if it's just one person that gets to accept God, that gets to accept Jesus Christ as his or her Lord and personal Savior, then I must have done something. Then this video must have achieved what it's supposed to achieve. So guys, thank you for watching. Please share this video. Please give it a massive thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Till I see you next time. Bye.